YouTube ads. A hot topic of discussion lately due to the platform's new policy of restricting the use of ad blockers. While I can respect that, I believe that YouTube also needs to ensure that their Adsense publishers are following their requirements and rules. By requiring users to disable their ad blockers, YouTube is exposing new audiences to these ads paid for by various companies. What do I mean? Well, for instance, when you search for something on YouTube, you are presented with videos that are related to your search, but you may also come across similar ads. Taking a look at these ads, it's clear they're unofficial. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Most of these ads are AI generated and are not endorsed by Epic Games. However, as I continue my investigation into these advertisers, I found myself going down multiple rabbit holes. There were so many questionable choices that these advertisers were making that I am left with more questions rather than answers. Some companies engage in unethical methods, such as creating numerous websites that act as ad farms. There's an advertiser who might be using Fortnite to promote an app, and 2 companies have committed serious violation of copyright by stealing artwork from multiple Fortnite creators. What I initially thought were just websites aimed at scamming and stealing personal information turned out to be something else entirely. This video may be branching out my usual Fortnite content, but I feel like it's important to discuss. Look man, I love YouTube, but I find some of their practices to be unacceptable. It's possible that YouTube may try to suppress this video, so if you find it interesting, please share it with others and get the word out. And if you enjoyed this type of content, consider subscribing to my channel. I promise to return to making Fortnite videos next month. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. This is very important and I cannot stress this enough. I do not support any form of harassments towards any individuals or organizations mentioned in this video. I want to share all the information I found to be interesting. When searching for Fortnite on YouTube, you come across many advertisers. However, there were 3 advertisers that appeared the most. Sri Mulyani, an Indonesian advertiser, NetPeak EOOD, a Bulgarian advertiser, and NetPeak LTD, a UK advertiser. All 3 companies that I mentioned have verified their identities and are authorized to post ads on YouTube. However, you may immediately notice that the names of the last 2 companies, NetPeak EOOD and LTD, are very similar. I'm going to go ahead and make the assumption that they are the same company. Not only do they have the same name, just in different variation, but there are other examples I will show throughout this video that support this claim. To view all ads by a specific advertiser, we'll use Google Ads Transparency Center. What's so great about it is, it allows you to search and view ads from any advertiser. Simply type the advertiser's name and you'll find all of their ads. While it displays ads from different Google products, we're going to focus on YouTube. NetPeak EOOD and LTD respectively had at least 40,000 ads when I started writing in February. However, this number has recently been increased to 300,000, which first off is insane. Taking a closer look at these ads, the target audience becomes apparent. They span a range of popular games, mainly geared towards children. We see games like Minecraft, Roblox, Poppy Playtime, and of course, Fortnite. When you click on these ads, they direct you to a website that reviews the game. It lists the pros and cons and gives you an overall score. However, every time I see one of these advertisers advertising their website, it leads me to a different website. Yet, it's still owned by the same advertiser. Knowing this, I wanted to see how many websites I can find in 10 minutes, and I found over 20 websites. Judging by how many I was able to find, I started to notice a pattern between these websites. Generic web design, terrible About Us sections, fake social media links that go nowhere, and identical orange-red logos. You're probably wondering about the reviews. Aren't they good? Yeah, they're all written by AI. The About Us section, the reviews, the pros and cons, everything. This isn't only limited to either NetPeak LTD or EOOD, it's both of them, which starts to seem likely that they are the same company, allegedly. These websites also display a more malicious design. Initially, I was wondering how these advertisers were making money. They have all of these websites and are posting them all over YouTube, until I noticed, out of the corner of my eye, that my ad blocker was on. This was how I was seeing these websites. And this is actually how they look. It's not just one website. Every single website I found follows the same pattern. These websites are essentially ad farms, and they check all the boxes. One is content generation. It's where they create a ton of reviews and articles about whatever they want. It's not designed with accuracy or quality in mind, and as I mentioned earlier, everything on that website is AI generated. Another is traffic acquisition. A lot of ad farms purchase fake traffic or search engine optimization, also known as SEOs. One easy way to improve your SEO is through backlinks. A quick explanation about backlinks is when a credible, using that term loosely, website links to your content. This linking shows that your content is both reliable and relevant, and as a result, your site's search ranking improves. Interestingly, when I put the websites that I found on a backlink checker, all the websites link back to multiple companies that specialize in SEO backlinks. This further confirms that these websites acquire fake traffics in hopes of generating more money. I wanted to verify and see if all these websites belong to one company. To do this, I checked their domain information through ICANN. ICANN is a public record that provides details about the domain's owner, registrar, and registration expiration date. Unfortunately, the contact information was redacted for privacy, but I noticed that most of the websites were purchased through Namecheap, which is a web hosting and domain registration company. Now, looking at website names, I found some weird names, such as mountmorrisny.org or hanawayforgovernor.com. This made me believe that they bought these web domains. With an arbitrary name like these, they were probably cheap to buy. To determine this, we refer back to ICANN, and we can see that Mount Morris website was created in 2020, while the Hanaway website was created in 2014. The reason Mount Morris was created later might be that it was purchased through Namecheap instead of the original source, which could have been GoDaddy or some other domain provider. We can confirm this by looking at both websites on Wayback Machine, which reveals that, yeah, these websites served a very different purpose from what they are today. I would like to mention that, yes, I did search for NetPeak Ltd on UK's Company House since they labeled themselves as a UK company. Company House is a website where you search for information about companies. Once you establish your company, it's required by UK law to sign up. I did find them listed there, but the company has a disclaimer that states, Company's House does not verify the accuracy of the information filled. I'm not entirely certain it's them. All I have to base it on is their nature of business, which is an advertising agency, and I don't have a reference document. As a precaution, if it's not them, and to prevent any doxing, I have all names and information blurred. Finally, I want to mention this quickly because many people will be asking, does downloading from these websites lead to a virus or some type of malware? No, it leads to Fortnite's official site or any other console's official website, such as PlayStation or Nintendo. Now, despite all of this information, I wanted to find out whether any of these companies had violated Google's ads terms of service. I wanted to check whether having multiple advertiser pages was a violation. Unfortunately, I discovered that not only is it allowed, but it's also a common practice. In fact, it's so common that Google has a page for creating a manager account, which allows companies to view and manage multiple Google ad accounts. However, I have found instances where both NetPeak EOOD and LTD violated other Google Ads terms of service. The first one is simple, and not all websites are at fault. With that, we have to head to Destination Requirement Rules and scroll down to the Destination Not Crawlable section. All Google Ads are required to be crawlable by web crawlers. If a website violates these rules, the ad will be disapproved, and repeat violations can result in your account being suspended. To better understand this, let's talk about how web crawlers and robot.txt files relate to each other. Web crawlers are automated programs that browse the internet, visit web pages, and collect information. When a web crawler visits a web page, it looks at the robot.txt file for instructions. To adhere to Google's ad policy, the robot.txt file must allow Googlebot to scan all websites. For example, this would pass Google's policy, and this would fail. Now, I would love to go through 42 websites and find out which one failed and which one passed, but I'm going to go ahead and use a crawlability checker. For NetPeak EOOD, 2 out of the 20 websites failed, and for NetPeak LTD, 2 out of the 22 failed, and one website did not even have a robot.txt file. Now, you might be wondering, why is this a problem? Well, it's a problem because Google is allowing advertisers to violate their rules without consequences, and multiple websites are failing this requirement. As I mentioned earlier, I discovered these websites within just 10 minutes of searching. If I were to locate all the websites, we can multiply this issue tenfold. The amount of time these advertisers have been failing this requirement would lead to an ad suspension, but unfortunately, Google has not taken any action. The second violation, which only affects one site and coincidentally is on the same page, is the destination experience section. Destinations or content that are unnecessarily difficult or frustrating to navigate. It is unclear why this website's the only one with this issue. When you click yes, it directs you to the download page, where it will later lead you to the official website. The final one, perhaps the biggest one, pertains to image usage. This is divided into two sections, image asset requirement and copyright. This also serves as a heads up for UEFN map makers or Fortnite artists. The image asset policy rejects images with text or graphic overlay, including brand logos or brand logos being used as the image asset. As you can see, many of these images clearly feature the Fortnite logo or phrases like play now or get it now. However, some of these photos were a little too good to be AI generated. I just wrapped up my investigation session and the conclusion is, yeah, these are stolen artwork from multiple UEFN creators and Fortnite artists. The irony lies in the fact that to submit an image asset, one must own all legal rights to publish images and share them with Google. If any creator recognizes their art here and wants links to it, my Twitter is linked down below. Feel free to send me a DM, I'll provide the source link and any additional information you need. You can submit a DMCA complaint or go to the report content on Google, but we all know how challenging it could be to get a response from major corporations like Google. Who knows, maybe they will respond quickly since it's a copyright concern. I know. I have been talking about NetPeak LTD and EOOD this entire time. But what about the third advertiser, Sri Mulyani? Well, a quick Google search of that name reveals an Indonesian economist. While some people might immediately make that connection, I doubt it's her. I bet the last name Mulyani is quite common worldwide. However, things take a turn when you scroll past the Fortnite ads. You start to see multiple ads for an app called Fonts for Instagram. Digging a little bit deeper, I uncovered a weird permission that this app has that others do not. If you look at their other apps, such as Story Fonts for Instagram and Fonts for WhatsApp status, and review their permissions, everything appears normal. Receive data from internet, view network connections, full network access, prevent device from sleeping, and Google Play license check. It's not until you look at Fonts for Instagram that they have a weird permission. Everything is the same except for download files without notification. This is strange because even data collection apps like Facebook do not have this permission. I visited the app's website and requested a comment regarding Fortnite ads and Sri Mulyani's ad page, but as the time of recording, I haven't received a response from them yet. It's interesting how certain ads, ranging from ad farms to apps with strange permissions, manage to pass through Google's checklist and become available for everyone to see. Although none of these practices are illegal, it is unethical to use a company's likeness to promote such practices. I bet major corporations like Microsoft, Epic Games, Roblox, and many others wouldn't be too pleased to see these types of ads all over YouTube. I will closely monitor this situation and share any updates I see on my YouTube channel's community page or make a quick video on my second channel. If you want to see more ridiculous ads, I have a video on my second channel where I go over YouTube short ads. And let me tell you, those ads get inappropriate quick. It's queued up to play next. If you're interested in other Fortnite videos, I have a playlist that you can tap here and view all my longer form content. Aside from that, I hope April is treating you well, I love you all, and I will see you very soon.